Let's go to this story that I mentioned. We touched on this yesterday. The devout Christian mother suing her son's school, claiming that he was made to take part in an LGBT Pride Parade. Born-again Christian Izzy Montague says the head teacher at Heavers Farm Primary in London said her son could not opt out of the event. This is back in 2018. Parents received a letter from the school inviting them to attend a Pride March and celebrate the differences that make them and their family special. She contacted the school a week later and asked for her son to be excused from the attendance as she didn't want him being involved in a public display of adherence to views which she did not accept. The mother claims the request was denied by the head teacher. Izzy Montague joins me now. Izzy, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon.
Nice to have you with us. So just run us through then what initially happened. And by the way, we talked about this yesterday. You had an awful lot of support from people who were commenting, whether they were Christian or not, whether they were parents or not. Most people working with the very basic idea that this is an area that would be down to the parents to decide and not the school.
Correct. I mean, the idea that you send your child to school to learn and the school feels that they can indoctrinate your child, push sexual agendas to your child because that's what they believe, and somehow what you believe is simply homophobic, transphobic, and therefore your child should be radicalised not to have those views.
Yeah, and you put that very well. The idea that you just start throwing those words out of somebody because they have a concern, whether it's a concern because of their faith or anything. I mean, Mike, I've got a 4-year-old. I would argue the same point. You know, firstly, why are they having a Pride March for 4-year-olds, for goodness sake?
I mean, that's right. I mean, June obviously is Pride Month for many people, not for myself, not for many others, I believe. And for a school to decide that they want to celebrate it, and not as a matter of choice, and ask parents, you know, would you want your child to attend? It's almost enforced on children. And I think what's really important is that they try to make it mandatory, and they will use different types of lessons in the school, such as maths, English, history, in order to deliver that throughout the curriculum. What
was the response then when you initially... So you got a letter saying that the kids are going to do this Pride thing as part of Pride Week or month or whatever it was, and then you contacted them and said, well, I'd rather my little one didn't do that. You got an immediate response back saying it's not optional.
Correct. So it wasn't optional because it was headed under a part of the curriculum that you couldn't excuse your child.
How do they get that into... Forgive me, I'm no educationalist, Izzy, but how on earth do they get that into the curriculum?
Because they used... It's this deliberate, we cannot allow parents to get out of this. And we are going to make sure that we deliver it in all aspects of the curriculum, such as maths, English, art lessons.
So a Pride Parade, they were arguing essentially is as much bolted into the curriculum as maths and English.
I mean, that was interesting because they saw it as an assembly, and how can you remove your child from an assembly? It's an assembly that is important because it welcomes a wide range of issues, diversity, and who would not want to celebrate diversity?
That would be the argument that many people would put to you. They would say, you know, as a black woman, you would understand diversity, perhaps more than a white person would, and therefore, in this case, it's not about colour, but it's about sexuality. You know, there are gay people, there are straight people, and what is wrong with saying to kids, look, we're all the same, we're all part of God's creatures, if you want to put it that way. What's wrong with that?
I think that there's nothing wrong with basically celebrating everybody in their similarities. You know, as a Christian, God loves all his children, and all his children are more than welcome to understand why we live together and we learn together. And it is about appreciating that we are different, but we are the same. And we are the same, and we shouldn't be highlighting that, you know, people are black, people are African, people are, that's not what children go to school for. And in a wider aspect, if you're saying, well, we do this because when they get older, they will, have to learn about this. How many of us realistically go to work and in every day of our lives that, clapping and dancing to celebrate how different we are? Yeah.
I work with lots of different people, but we don't have any ritual to acknowledge that on a daily, weekly or even an annual basis. We just kind of get on with it and all get along rather well. In 20 seconds, and it must be 20 seconds, Izzy, sorry, what is the status now? What is it you're suing for? What is it you want? Is it money? Is it an answer? What's the deal?
No, I believe that this has been pushed out to many schools, not just my son's school. And the idea is that the overall ruling would have, important implications on that this should not be allowed to be.
So it's a precedent that you're looking for in that respect?
Yeah, and overall, because I think it's about clarity.
All right, clarity on that point. We hit the news. Izzy Montague, thank you.